Welcome back, viewers, to the List of Legends list, and today we're going to be listing the top 8 best Walking Dead villains. Now, on my last video, I made a list talking about Telltale's The Walking Dead best episode, which link is in the description if you want to check out that video. But for today's list, we're going to be talking about the show. Spoiler warning, of course, if you haven't watched The Walking Dead, and as always, before we begin, make sure to click that like and subscribe button so I know you like my content. Without further interruptions, let's begin. Starting at our number 1 spot, we have Merle Dixon. Merle was introduced all the way back in Season 1 when Rick was caught in a walker swarm in Atlanta. He is then rescued by Glenn and taken into a department store, where we officially meet Merle, who is a racist and a military man. We see him take on not just Rick but Morales, Glenn, and T-Dog all at the same time. Definitely one tough dude. If that's not bad enough, we soon learn 2 seasons later he's teamed up with the Governor, who we know is one of the most ruthless villains in Walking Dead history. So much so, he even killed Merle himself. In the end, what a way to go. Number 2, we have Simon, or Trevor from GTA 5 rather, and he's basically another version of Merle but on steroids and works for Negan and not the Governor. Simon was introduced as Negan's right-hand man, and he has not only tried to kill Negan for leadership, but it shows just how much of a backstabber he really is. If that's not bad enough, he completely wiped out the Scavengers just for not receiving a proper apology. The Scavengers easily had 50 people if not more, just to give you an idea how much of a bad guy he really was. Simon basically wanted to just kill everyone, and it seemed like he enjoyed the bloodbath. Man, I'm glad he's gone. At our number 3 spot, we have Gareth, the crazy cannibal who put signs on the road to lure unsuspecting victims to a supposed walker-free shelter, when in reality he trapped people as well as our group in a train car. Then he prepared to kill Rick and everyone to use them as food. Later down the road, shortly after our group escapes, Gareth kidnaps Bob and then cuts off his leg just to eat it right in front of him. Something similar also happens in Telltale's The Walking Dead with the St. John's cutting off Mark's leg and feeding it to Lee's group. I get finding food is tough in the apocalypse, but cannibalism is not the way to go. Hitting our halfway point on the list at a number 4 spot, we have Beta from the Whispers, and man is this guy huge. Like seriously, just seeing him charging in like a football player and picking Daryl up like a ragdoll is just a scary sight. An even more scary sight is wearing walker skins as a mask to blend in with the dead. Smart, but gross. Definitely giving me Leatherface vibes. Anyways, Beta is a part of the Whisperers, which is a group of walker skin wearing masked freaks who go around acting like wild animals. They don't show any remorse, they kill on sight, and don't even treat each other equally. Especially Beta. One slip around this guy and you might get your throat slit. He also took charge after Alpha's death and burned down Hilltop. How much more brutal can this guy get? Like seriously. Number 5 on the list, we have the head of the Whispers, Alpha, and while I'll admit she is more remorseful than Beta, but let's not get carried away. She gave away her daughter, decapitated a member of her group who just didn't agree with her, started the whole Whisper group of mindless mask-wearing freaks, and went as far as putting some of our group members' heads on spikes, just to mark their territory. Yikes, I am glad Negan did what he did. She definitely deserved it. Number 6 on our list, we have probably the most controversial case on our list, as well as my favorite character, Mr. Shane Walsh. The reason why I say controversial is because you could also say Shane is a villain, or you could say Shane's a hero. Sort of. Shane is introduced all the way back in the first episode of the series, and is Rick's partner in crime, as well as his best friend. He saves Rick from the walkers in the hospital, and makes sure his wife and son are okay in this apocalyptic world. We soon find out Shane is sleeping with Rick's wife, and simply told Lori Rick was dead. It all seemed to happen pretty quickly, so definitely not cool on Shane's part. We see Rick reunite with Lori, and Shane is definitely not happy. Ultimately, it seemed Lori was the dividing factor between Rick and Shane, and both had their own plans on how to safely run the group. Shane's way was more so act now, think later, while Rick was the complete opposite. Overall, other than trying to steal Lori, I think Shane's calls were more plausible and he was a natural born leader, but was way ahead of his time because everything Shane did back then, Rick did in the later seasons, especially look at Season 5. In the end, Shane had only one goal, and that was to have Lori and Carl all to himself, so he made a plan to take out Rick, which ultimately failed and ended up with Rick taking out Shane instead. Rest in peace, Shane. Nearing the end of our list at our number 7 spot, we have the Governor, or Brian Harriet, or Philip. Man, this guy changes his name a lot. At the start of the 3rd season, we meet the Governor, who acts like he's the nicest guy, but shows his true colors of being a psychopath, which involved keeping walker heads as trophies, lying and taking out an army base, just to steal their supplies, attacking the prison on multiple accounts, using his own people of non-fighters to take down the prison, which ended up with him killing his own people. Wow, seems like the list never ends. He then offers a fake deal to Rick, which involves him handing over Michonne in exchange for leaving the prison alone. when in reality he was planning on just killing them all regardless. It doesn't end there. He later returns in Season 4 looking even more like a pirate with his eye patch and long beard. He then finds his old colleague who left him originally after he slaughtered his own people. He soon takes him out and takes control of his group and seemingly wants to take the prison, but ends up destroying it in the process and eventually getting a sword through his heart by Michonne. Wow, if all of that wasn't enough to warrant a spot on the best villains for the Walking Dead list, I would not know what would. At our great number 8 spot, we have Negan. Good old Negan. This man was a legend, carrying around a barbed wire baseball bat and makes our group get on their knees. Like the governor, he has a lot of people, but the difference was they all followed the same code of all going by, well, Negan. They also make various demands to Rick, with the primary demand being give us half your stuff or we will kill you. While the show doesn't do as great of a job as its comic book counterpart, it still shows the terror of just how much of a threat Negan is. I mean, even before Negan's introduction, there was many outposts that Rick and his group had to take out. Making matters worse, Rick realizes just how much people Negan actually has. Then Negan proceeds to kill our two beloved characters, Glenn and Abraham. Man, I really want to see Abraham in All Out War. Overall, Negan is the type of villain to have you live your life in fear, so you'll do his bidding. And it worked. He had the Kingdom, Hilltop, and Alexandria under his thumb, and that's quite an impressive feat. But what do you think? Does Negan fit the bill as the greatest villain in Walking Dead history? Let me know in the comments down below. Alright viewers, that is the end of our list. Let me know what list you'd like to see next. With all that said, I look forward to seeing you with our next list.